Kahalo Yahweh Bashim Shai Bashim Dash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone of Rule. Well, I am not a member, however, I've entered into their labors. Peace and mercy to the sincere brothers and sisters doing this wherever you are, whatever your lot may be. And this is just something I was reading through Isaiah 34, and um, honestly, something jumped on me. I just don't know what, and I don't know where to start. So I just hit record. And if you're seeing this, the Spirit did what the Spirit does. But we'll read through this, maybe kind of skim through the commentary, get some cross references, and really just show how the end of this age links to E. Okay, he will be in charge, and there is no, Japheth is not running the world at the end of this era, at the end of this age. No other nation. Okay, and the confusion comes from people who don't understand the Bible but are trying to explain it as if they do. They take bits and pieces, some from certain camps and some from other camps and some from meme culture, right? And then they throw all of this together and they think that that is sound doctrine, right? Nobody has the truth except for the men of the great millstone and those that preach the light doctrine. That this has proven the test of time as of all these different camps have disbanded and changed and things have been inconsistent. Truly the Spirit of the Lord is on them, because it shows, the scriptures tell you, I am the Lord, I change not, so the children of Israel be not consumed, roughly paraphrased. And that is the Spirit of the Lord on them. Everything, the things that have changed have been updates, as in, oh, we have the understanding now. We were wrong then, we're right now, and this is why we were wrong, this is why we were right. Everything has always been plain as day. All right, if you're given the Spirit to understand, and if you're not in your feelings about certain austere teachings or hard sayings to hear, because you haven't yet to shed your Western mind. But all that is not the point here. The point is that um, E is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So why don't we just open up with that? Okay. And we'll really stay mostly in Isaiah 34, but I want to grab a lot of cross references for certain things that we read. So we're going to skim it. Second dash, this is what I said. Is it 6? I forget sometimes. 6 and 9. Yeah. Okay. But we're going to You know what? Let's just cover a little bit more. We got time. I got a little time. Let's cover it. Let's read through and get some context here. As you can see, the angel is speaking to Esdras or Ezra, and they're kind of discussing how things are. And Ezra's trying to understand, why is it that if the earth was made for our sakes, why do these lesser beings that rule over us? Okay, and it's because of our disobedience. And he's just explaining how things work, why judgment can't come all at once and we can't be restored like that, at the snap of a finger. Okay, so we'll go ahead and kind of skim, but the point obviously is in verse 9. All right, he said unto me in the beginning, when the earth was made, before the borders of the world stood, or even the winds blew, before before it thundered and lightning, or even the foundations of paradise were laid, before the fair flowers were seen, or even the movable powers were established, before an innumerable multitude of angels were gathered together, or even the heights of the air were lifted up, before the measures of the firmament were named, or ever the chimney of Zion were hot, and ere the present years were sought out, and or ever the inventions of them that now sin return. All right, so before everything that you can think of, before it all right, okay. Uh, then did I consider these things, that they all were made through me alone and through none other. By me also they shall be ended, and by none other. Okay, and this is the Lord speaking through the angel. All right, I believe it's Uriel. Dude, I believe it's Uriel. Okay, so right, no, there is no surprise attack. And you know how the Hollywood, these left-handed priests, they love to write in at the last minute. They were able to get the upper hand and win. All right, like just at the buzzer, landing a three-point shot at the buzzer. No, you won't do that. Okay, you are allowed a certain amount of time to do whatever it is that you do. All right, be the hammer, and the time is reaching an end. Point blank period. That is all. Okay. All right. Then did I consider these things? Okay. Yeah. So by me also they shall be ended, and by none other. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times, or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him. Okay, there's your protagonist and antagonist, right? This is the story of whom the two nations is hinged on. All right, everybody else is side characters. Esau and Jacob are the main characters of this terrifying play that we are living in, terrifying yet exciting play that we are in a real world living. Okay, Esau was born of him, and Jacob's hand first held Esau's heel. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. The hand of the man is betwixt the heel of the hand, is betwixt hot dog. The hand of man is betwixt the heel and the hand. Other questions that was asked thou not, right? So I've given you enough. That's it. This is what we. This is the answer you're gonna get. If you can't piece it together through the spirit that I've given you, then look. That's it. I can tell you no more, right? Because there are also things, right, that were written in the books that we are not to know as of yet. There are different. There are books. Like there is a book of Asher and there is a book of all of that, but the ones that you see now aren't. Those are not legitimate. Okay, everything will be explained very soon here. But right now, what we have is enough to hold on to salvation and to maintain faith and to continue to learn and to continue to grow. All right, so I think that's what the title will be, somewhere along these things here. Okay, so let's go ahead and read through this, and I've got the NLT on the side as well. All right, and we'll skim over where we need to. Come near ye nations to hear, hearken ye people, let the earth hear, and all that therein in the world, and all the things that come forth of it. For the indignation of Yahweh is upon all nations, and his fury upon all the armies. He hath utterly destroyed them, he hath delivered them to the slaughter. That also is leading up to, we already here. Is it 13? Yes, because it's also leading up to the return of the Yahushua, right? Where he carved out that great mountain and he flew upon it, okay? That's also what that is leading. That is going to be that great day of the Lord. Okay. What are we there? Okay, their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. Okay, so their dead will be left unburied, and the stench of rotting bodies will fill the land. The mountains will flow with their blood. I'm reading in the NLT now as well. Or now we switched over to the NLT. Okay, the heavens above will melt away and disappear like a rolled up scroll. The stars will fall from the sky like withered leaves and from a grapevine, or shriveled figs from a fig tree. Okay, that's 34 and 4. So we'll read it here in the KJV is what usually what we know verbatim. I know that one verbatim. All right, and all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down, and the leaf falleth as the leaf falleth from the vine, and as the figs falling from the fig tree. Now let's see what cross references we get from this, right? Boom, and this is all talking about E. Okay, 13. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. Sun shall be darkened and is going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine, right? Because the day of the Lord is done. Let's go to that real quick. We'll come back. Okay, and this is about the judgment. Okay, the day of the Lord. Same saying. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. So basically what you're seeing, what we're reading also through, it should be Revelation in there, where it talks about Babylon is fallen, it is the habitation of devils, all right, and the owl and the cormorant will live there, okay, and it'll be served as a monument, right, just as Sodom and Gomorrah was, and as the reward to those who live in outright rebellion. Okay, I will punish the world for the evil, the wicked iniquities, right? I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and I will lay the haughtiness of the terrible. And that definitely speaks of E, reeks of E, if you will. Okay, let's see. Yep, Isaiah 14, how thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning. Which did is weaken the nations. Simply means light bearer, right? There is no entity named Lucifer and an entity named Satan. Lucifer is a title meaning light bearer, right? But their light is darkness. Okay, let's see what else we got. Yep, the sun shall be. That's Joel 2. Joel 2 is also another, or 3 actually. Joel 3 is another one that links E to Babylon, and it's utter destruction. Because every time you hear E, you see uh, destruction and desolation. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back and continue on. So if we read 34 and 6 in the NLT, the sword of the Lord is drenched. The sword of the Lord is drenched with blood and covered with fat. Oh, 30. We skipped 5. Hold on. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse for judgment. To judgment. All right. Obviously, it reads the same here. It will fall upon Edom, the nation I have marked for destruction. Now, if we go, uh, it should have Malachi in here. Definitely should have Malachi. Obviously, Obadiah. Yep. And Malachi. Yep. 1 and 4. Whereas Edom says, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts. They shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, the people against whom the Lord hath indignation with forever. All right, obviously Obadiah is in there. Okay, pretty much the entire book of Obadiah almost. Oh yeah, that entire, yeah. Obadiah 1 and 1 is the vision of Obadiah. Thus saith Yahweh power concerning Edom. We have heard the rumor from the Lord, and the ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. You're seeing that. These are all things that are readily available for live viewing if you got the spirit, right? I'm going to go ahead and read verse 3. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. Whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith Yahweh. So all of these cross references are lining up, okay? And with that, you also, you have Joel 3 and 19. Okay, we already read Isaiah 14 and 12, how art thou fallen from heaven. We did Isaiah 13 and 19, okay, and also the letters of Jeremiah. Okay, so Jeremiah 51 and Jeremiah 50. All right, Psalms 108, all of these different things go link hand in hand. And when you read precept upon precept, line upon line, if you can do 2, 3, even 4 precepts that line up and say the same thing that you may be thinking, then there you have it. But it has to be more than one thing precept, right? There's got to be more than one in order for you to have those 2 or 3 or 4 sometimes witnesses. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and continue in the NLT from verse 6. The sword of the Lord is drenched with blood and covered with fat. Blood of lambs goes with the fat of rams prepared for sacrifice, because that's what this place is going to be here. Yes, the Lord will offer a sacrifice in the city of Basra. He will make a mighty slaughter in Edom. And that is why they hate being called E. That is why they've been trying to run away from that name, because that name is tied to a great judgment. But it is simply who you are. No amount of pseudoscience, no amount of changing definitions of digitized books, and no amount of different laws that you ambiguously write in order for them to fit whatever narrative you need to fit at that point in time. None of that is going to help. I mean, it may offer temporary relief, because you definitely will be able to put some of our people to death on that, on that tip, how you always do. But and in the end, they lose. It's just gonna be a rough, rough ride until we reach the very end, right? Okay, so let's continue on. Verse 7. Even men as strong as wild oxen will die. The young men alongside the veterans. The land will be soaked with blood, and the soil enriched with fat. When it's the same, it is speaking as the same as a sacrifice, right? That's why I mentioned the rams and the goats, okay? Because remember, the fat was supposed to be dedicated unto the Lord. And I wonder, let's see. Let's see if it talks about any of the, I believe that is in some of the sundry laws in Leviticus, possibly. Let's see, with fatness, soaked with blood. This is Jeremiah. Let's see what they got. His glory is like the firstling. Uh-huh. No. So it's mainly getting pertaining to judgment, but I thought it would at least make that reference, why the reference is of the, the fat of lambs and stuff like that. Let me see. How do you spell sacred? JV, there we go. Something like that, yeah. I know it's 3 and 16, so we'll go to that. I'll just open up another one. Oh, it automatically went parallel. We don't need you. Okay, peace offering. Okay, the priest shall burn them upon the altar. Yeah, okay, 3 and 14, Leviticus 3 and 14. He shall offer therefore thereof his offering, even an offering made by fire unto the Lord, the fat that covereth the inwards, and all the fat that is upon the inwards, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, which is by the flank, and the caul above the liver, with the kidneys, it shall he take away. And the priest shall burn them upon the altar. It is the food of the offering made by fire for a sweet savor. All the fat is the Lord's. That's what I was looking for. Right. So that kind of helps kind of put into context, right? The where this is coming from. Why? Because it is a book about the Israelite and their culture, which means that I guess for lack of a better term, right, what would be considered AAVE now, right? We had our own language, we had our own slang, we had our own ways of talking that would match, that we would be able to understand as a people, as a culture. We even have it now. They call it AAVE. All right, so anyway, continuing on. 34 and 11. That's why I talk about the cormorant and the bittern shall possess it. The owl, also the raven, shall dwell in, and he shall stretch out upon the line of confusion and the stones of emptiness. All right, so look at, they'll read it in 11. For God will measure that land carefully, measure it for destruction, right? He will measure it for chaos and destruction. Why? Because that also should bring Malachi 1 and 4, right? Being the border of wickedness, right? Bordering is a border is a defining line of, what I'm saying. So let's see what they got. Then crowd reference. Stretch upon the line of Malachi. Yeah. Okay, Malachi 1 and 3 and 4, right? Stretched out upon the line of confusion, right? Calling him the border of wickedness. All right, okay. See what I'm saying? We in there. Yeah. We read 12, we read 11, so here's 12. They shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there. All her princes shall be nothing. Right? What is it called? A land of nothing, and all its nobles will soon be gone. Why? They're gonna be in chains, buddy. Yeah, it talks about the ruins. Okay, desert animals. Yep. So we'll skip down to 16. And this is exactly what we did. This is why I wanted this and in the beginning. So we read the second Ezra 6 and 9 about Eve being the end, and Jacob being the beginning of it that followeth. And this is what we just done. We seek out of the book, sought out of the book and read. All right. So this is where we'll end it. Okay. 34 and 16, Isaiah, seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read, and none of these shall fail, none shall want her made. For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them. So let's read in the NLT. Search the book of the Lord and see what he will do. None of these birds are, and that's where they went off. Okay, because it's talking about mating the scriptures with other books, trying to compare it and see if you can glean more than what the Lord allows, right? It's simply talking about the scriptures. Okay. For the Lord has promised this, his spirit will make it all come true. Yeah. So that's Isaiah 34. Okay, and that's how you link. And again, I will give you those scriptures also linking Babylon to Edom. Okay, so it's going to be the ones we already read were Isaiah 14 and 12, and then Joel 3 and 19. We also read Isaiah 13 and 19. Okay, and then we're going to go to Jeremiah. So Jeremiah 51, I think around about the. Let me read it. Let's get to it. Let's go, and then we'll end it. Let's just go to those real quick. I want to make sure I got what I got. So let's go to Jeremiah 50. First it's 50 and that's got to be it. Jeremiah 50 and 23, that's got to be it. Yes. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations, right? And what do we get about the hammer from Isaiah 14? Okay. And then and 40. Yeah, Jeremiah 50 and 40. As God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, saith Yahweh, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. So these were letters to, the Neo-Babylonian Empire, but the things that are written, it's dual coded about Babylon here, today, right now. Because people currently inhabit the land of the Neo-Babylonian Empire. It's called Iraq. And those are in whatever surrounding areas around there, okay? What did we say? 50 and 40. I did 50 and 23. Let's do 51 and 29. Or is it 28? Mm-hmm. And the land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord shall be performed against Babylon, as we read at the end of Isaiah 34, right? To make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant. Linking E with desolation and ruling at the end of this era. Okay. 49, I believe, also. Yep, prophecy against Edom, right? So that should be around. For lo, I will make thee small among the heathen and despised among men. Thy terribleness hath deceived thee, and the pride of thine heart, O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. Same, right? That holdest the height of the hill. Though thou shouldest make thy nest as high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence. So Obadiah and Jeremiah had the same thing, right? 17. Also Edom shall be a desolation. Every one that goeth by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss at all her plagues, at all the plagues thereof, right? And just as Jerusalem is a people before a place, so is Edom. So is Basra, right? The capital. Lament, right? For old Babylon, come down and sit in the dust. O virgin daughter of Babylon, sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate, right? So I think we can end it there. We've gotten plenty of precepts, plenty of things to write down. So I pray that you are edified. Shalom.